Chaos in Hong Kong. Thousands of protesters descend on the island's main airport after a weekend of violence with police. Hundreds of flights were suspended on Monday, but will stranded passengers be able to leave today? We'll find out. A problem that's likely to persist. That's the international media's forecast for the worsening Seoul-Tokyo trade tensions. The New York Times says the two countries will not back down, despite President Trump's call for improved relations. Plus, after South Korea also yanks Japan off its own trade whitelist in response for Tokyo doing the same, South Korea's ruling party and the government are meeting to discuss ways to counter Japan's export curbs. Our top story this morning, around 5,000 pro-democracy demonstrators in Hong Kong swarmed the territory's international airport on Monday, forcing it to temporarily close. Now, they do remain in the terminal as we speak, but flights are now said to be leaving. For more, we have our Che Xiang on the line to give us the details. So, Xiang, what are we hearing right now?
Well, Mark, the airport shut down at 4:03 p.m. Monday, and it reopened at 6 a.m. local time on Tuesday. Now, that's 7 a.m. Korean time. Now, this is 2 hours earlier than initially announced by the airport. That's due to a large number of people grounded yesterday. But if you check out the websites of major airlines, many flights still remain canceled. So if you're traveling in or out of Hong Kong, you should check with your airline or the Hong Kong airport website to confirm whether there are any cancellations or delays. Now, this is the first time in the airport's history that it has been forced to close because of a mass rally. The rally swelled in size as a video of a female demonstrator who was shot in the eye by police when viral and enraged protesters.
Yes, let's talk more about that then, Xiang. This woman on video got shot in the eye, we hear, by some kind of bean bag bullet of some sort. But tell us more about that, but also the international reaction to this heavy-handed police response.
Sure, Mark. On Sunday, the female protester lost an eye to a beanbag round shot by police while taking part in a street demonstration. Hong Kong police rules state that such non-lethal ammunition should be shot at people's body or limbs, not at their head. The brutal force used by police shocked not just the demonstrators, but also people from around the world. Now, amid the widely circulated concerns that China may intervene in Hong Kong with force, the U.S. and Canada have openly expressed their concerns. On Monday, the U.S. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell tweeted any violent crackdown would be unacceptable and said the world is watching, clearly referring to China, which is thought to be considering intervening in the matter with force. And Canada's Prime Minister also said he's deeply concerned about how the situation is unfolding in Hong Kong and called on China to respectfully treat those Hong Kong citizens or the demonstrators who have reasonable concerns toward the government bill. However, on the same day, the State Council of China called the demonstrations a sign of terrorism and said the protesters' actions against the police are crimes because they had deadly weapons. Back to you, Mark.
Well, thank you very much for that report, Xiang, and keep us updated throughout the day on the turmoil there at Hong Kong's international airport, one of the busiest airports in the whole of Asia. Now, everyone expected it, and on Monday, the hammer finally came down. The latest salvo in the trade battle between Seoul and Tokyo was fired, this time by South Korea. The South Korean government officially revealed it was dropping Japan from its own trade whitelist of countries that get preferential treatment on trade from Seoul. The announcement came exactly 10 days after Tokyo made a similar move against South Korea. Our business correspondent Kim Hae-sung has more on the trade tussle that's becoming increasingly bitter by the day.
South Korea's trade ministry announced Monday that it has decided to remove Japan from its 29-country white list of trusted trade partners that are given preferential treatment on over 1,700 strategic items.
We need to put an export control system in place given that it's hard to work closely with countries that continuously violate basic principles of export control or that run their systems inappropriately.
Korea had put its export partners into two groups. Group A for countries like the U.S. and Canada, which are signatories to four major international export agreements, including the Wassenaar Arrangement, and Group B for other countries, including China. But now Group A will be divided into A1 and A2 plus Group B, making it a total of three groups. The Trade Ministry says Japan will fall into Group A2 as a country whose export control systems go against international export control agreements. Group A2 will face tighter export controls, tantamount in principle to those faced by Group B, so Korean exporters will not get blanket permission to ship certain strategic items to Japan. Korean companies shipping to countries listed in A2 will have to submit 5 different documents instead of 3 for individual strategic items. The approval process will also take around 15 days, up from the current 5. The changes will go into effect not immediately, but around September after a gathering of public opinion for 20 days. The South Korean government's announcement comes 10 days after Tokyo removed Seoul from its whitelist, making around 1,100 items vulnerable to stricter export curbs. But at the same time, the Trade Ministry added that Seoul is ready to discuss the issue anytime and anywhere with Japan upon its request during the opinion-gathering process, leaving the door open to negotiations. 김혜성, 아리랑 뉴스.
Now, South Korea retaliates against Tokyo by officially dropping Japan from its whitelist of countries with that fast-track trade status. A growing number of foreign media outlets are expressing their own concerns. They warn the situation has all the hallmarks of becoming a protracted grind of attrition between the two neighbours. Kim Hyo-sun reports.
Following South Korea's decision to drop Japan from its fast-track trade whitelist, many international media outlets forecast the trade row between the Asian neighbors is unlikely to be resolved anytime soon. The New York Times published an article Monday which explained that Seoul's move was anticipated when Japan removed South Korea from its own whitelist. The article, titled "South Korea Retaliates Against Japan in Trade and Diplomatic Rift," also stated the tit-for-tat measure shows the two countries will not back down despite President Trump's calls for improved relations. Trump said last Friday that the two nations should sit down and get along with each other. CNN reported Monday that Seoul has heightened the crisis that is already disrupting the global supply chain for large tech companies. U.S.-based business news website Business Insider also said Monday that the decades-long tensions between the two Asian countries are now threatening to boil over. It explained the tensions bubbled to the surface last year when the South Korean Supreme Court ordered certain Japanese companies to compensate South Korean wartime forced laborers. Reuters also reported on Seoul's move, describing it as a measure that deepens the diplomatic and trade row between the two countries. Kim Hyo-sun, Arirang News.
South Korea's ruling party and the government held a closed-door meeting this morning to discuss next year's budget plan. Although the exact figure was not decided, they agreed on the need for expansionary fiscal spending. To deal with Japan's export curbs, they're thinking of setting aside more than $1 billion. More meetings are lined up this afternoon. The ruling party will meet South Korea's leading private think tanks to discuss support measures for local firms that may be hit by Tokyo's trade retaliation. Separately, senior ruling party lawmakers and top officials from the presidential office and the government will discuss possible new developments and review response measures. And President Moon Jae-in is likely set to address Japan's trade restrictions, as well as the budget to be set aside for job creation here in South Korea. During today's weekly cabinet meeting, the president is expected to suggest guidance for the South Korean people in dealing with Tokyo's unjust trade actions. A lot of attention is on the president's message, given that the meeting comes just a day after Seoul decided to drop Japan from its fast-tracked trade whitelist, a tit-for-tat move that will be implemented in September. With the meeting being the last regular session before Liberation Day, National Liberation Day, this Thursday in South Korea. The president may even disclose his message prior to that speech he's going to give on the 15th. A number of major health and beauty stores in South Korea have launched a boycott against products made by Japanese firm DHC. The sales ban comes after the company made some rather controversial statements regarding the trade row between Seoul and Tokyo. Lee Seung-jae with the details.
DHC, a Japanese company known for its cosmetics and dietary supplements, entered the South Korean market in 2002 and has been a steady seller ever since. However, after it made controversial statements regarding the trade row between Seoul and Tokyo, a number of popular health and beauty stores in South Korea have announced they are boycotting DHC products. Olive Young says it will remove all DHC products from their online store, while removing its DHC products in brick-and-mortar stores to less visible areas. According to Olive Young, due to a contractual agreement, they cannot halt sales completely in offline stores. Others have followed suit. Lalavla have also stopped online sales of DHC products and has halted any additional orders in more than 150 stores nationwide. Loeb's, a health and beauty store run by Lotte Corporation, has also decided to pull all DHC products, both online and offline. The boycott comes as DHC TV uploaded a YouTube video which said the trade row will eventually cool down because Koreans will eventually forget about it. The DHC TV video also included a number of insensitive and historically incorrect commentaries on Korea. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
Now, we've been hoping for something like this for a number of years now. Crystal clear pictures on your smartphone are just around the corner at last. South Korea's Samsung Electronics has unveiled its newest 108 megapixel mobile phone sensor, and this is actually going to be the first in the entire global tech industry to surpass 100 million pixels, made in collaboration with Chinese phone giant Xiaomi. The sensor provides a mobile camera resolution equivalent to that of a high-end DSLR camera. Kan Hyung-woo reports.
Samsung Electronics has introduced the industry's first mobile image sensor that goes beyond 100 million pixels in what's dubbed the ISOCELL Bright HMX. Unveiling its latest addition to its mobile camera technology on Monday, Samsung said the new image sensor with its 108 megapixel will allow smartphone owners to take pictures in high-end DSLR camera quality, something that was once thought to be impossible before. According to the South Korean tech giant, the new image sensor can produce vivid photographs in both dark and bright environments, with a bigger surface area and smart ISO mechanism to better absorb light while increasing color accuracy. The industry's first 100 and plus megapixel image sensor also supports 30 frames per second filmed at 6K resolution, meaning its ability to record video without flaws makes it ideal to use in movie and broadcast shootings. Samsung has collaborated with Xiaomi to develop the high-resolution sensor for the Chinese firm's smartphones. Executive Vice President of Sensor Business at Samsung Electronics, Park Yong-in, said the company is continuously pushing to engineer its image sensors to capture the world as the human eye does. Co-founder and president of Xiaomi, Lin Bin, underscored the relationship Xiaomi has with Samsung, saying that the two IT giants will continue to cooperate in order to bring not only new mobile camera experiences, but also a platform through which our users can create unique content. Mass production for Samsung's ISOCELL Bright HMX will begin later this month. Kan Hyung-woo, Arirang News.
Now, in recent months, gaming addiction has been a hot topic around the world after the WHO categorized the condition as a mental disorder. Regardless of the arguments for or against this decision, South Korea, over the years, has been proactive in preventing and treating unhealthy gaming habits among children and teens. It is a big problem around the world. Our Oh Soo-young takes us to a camp here in South Korea for young gaming addicts.
For 21 hours a day, 14-year-old Kim has been playing video games throughout the night before she goes to school.
I started getting dizzy and shaking at school, and I can't focus in class and my grades have dropped a lot. I just keep thinking about gaming and imagine my fingers on the keyboard.
But Kim doesn't see herself stopping anytime soon. She sometimes worries she'll never achieve her dream of becoming a novelist. That's one of the reasons why she's spending her summer holiday in rehab. In the mountainous county of Buju, a camp for teenagers like Kim who are addicted to gaming and smartphone usage keeps them well beyond the reach of digital screens. For 2 to 4 weeks, they learn to reconnect with reality through individual and group counselling, community service and creative activities, learning that their hands can do much more than clicking and scrolling.
Here in this group therapy session, teenagers are writing a book about their lives in the future and how they achieve their dreams by overcoming their addiction to gaming and smartphone usage.
An essential part of the programme is building social connections.
As more and more children use digital media from an early age, their offline social bonds become weaker. Many addicts show a lack of social interaction. So a lot of our programs here are dedicated to helping our teens socialize and develop friendships.
Given the popularity of online gaming in Korea, with children spending an average of 44 minutes on gaming every day, Korea has been taking measures to curb unhealthy habits.
Korea has been proactive in dealing with gaming addiction. There's a law that bans under 16s from playing games after midnight, as well as specified indicators of gaming addiction. When gaming becomes the center of your life, craving and withdrawal symptoms, and when you stop eating, sleeping, going to school, putting things off or socializing properly. If this sign subsists for 12 months, you're considered addicted.
The World Health Organization earlier this year classified gaming addiction as a mental disorder, a move that could enable national health authorities to adopt more systematic control and treatment over the condition. However, there's been a backlash from the gaming industry on adopting the WHO standards, citing a lack of scientific proof that gaming addiction is a legitimate illness. But for the teenagers here at this camp, the addiction is real and it has consumed their lives. Oh Soo-young, Arirang News.
The US government has set new standards for obtaining permanent residency and US citizenship. This is part of the Trump administration's efforts to reduce legal immigration. For more on this and other news from around the world, let's turn to our Kim Dami. So Dami, tell us more.
Mark, the Trump administration unveiled a new rule on Monday that could deny visas or permanent residency to hundreds of thousands of people for being too poor. This means the new policy would reject applicants for temporary or permanent visas who fail to meet income standards or receive public assistance, including food stamps, welfare, and public housing. Coming into force on October 15th, the change aims to ensure that immigrants are self-sufficient, according to the administration.
Through the public charge rule, President Trump's administration is reinforcing the ideals of self-sufficiency and personal responsibility, ensuring that immigrants are able to support themselves and become successful here in America.
The change seeks to redefine what it means to be a public charge and who's likely to be one under U.S. immigration law. So from now on, wealth, education, age, and English language skills will take on greater importance in the process of obtaining a green card. Showing higher levels of income is much more necessary for applicants to get a visa. According to the Migration Policy Institute, More than half of all family-based green card applicants will be denied under the new rules. Air pollution driven by climate change in China will only get worse, leading to even more deaths, on top of the current 1 million air pollution-related deaths every year. This is according to a research by Chinese professor Zhang Qiang and German Dr. Hans-Joachim Schellenhuber. They compared temperatures and air quality between 2006 and 2010 with projections for 40 years later, 2046 to 2050, and estimated that air quality in China will worsen in over 55% of China. And that's the area where over 85% of China's population is located. The researchers also concluded that 40% of air pollution-related deaths will be due to atmospheric stagnation and 6% because of heat waves.
So, it's time now for our Life and Info segment where we focus on information useful for your everyday life. Today we'll be focused on Korea in particular, for our first story anyway, from a unique piano designed by a famous French artist to rare automobiles. A new museum has opened on Korea's southern resort island of Jeju, and it's showcasing pianos from all around the world and providing visitors with a glimpse of the evolution of cars over the years. Park Se-young with more.
A piano at the museum catches a visitor's attention. It's the world's only piano carved by the modern sculptor Auguste Rodin, most famous for his creation of the Thinker. The lid of the grand piano is decorated with 100 angels expressing heaven from Dante's Divine Comedy. The piano is also engraved with the names of 12 great composers and musicians. From the harpsichords, the ancestors of modern keyboard instruments, to a grand piano dating back to the early 1900s, a total of 33 pianos are on display at the museum.
I liked seeing the history of pianos with the kids and spent time admiring the rare pianos.
The museum was made possible with the passion of an enthusiast.
It was a great and shocking piano, and so was the price. So I couldn't accept the offer. I went back November of that year and bought it.
The museum also boasts a collection of about 100 vintage and classic cars from around the world. This car is made entirely of wood, and there are only 6 in existence today.
I like that I could look at cars from around the world.
Children can also participate in a hands-on driving activity that teaches road safety. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
A new survey shows there's a stark difference between male and female smokers in South Korea in regards to where they choose to puff on their cigarettes. According to an online questionnaire conducted by the Korea Institute for Health and Social Affairs, a larger ratio of women said they smoke indoors, including in restrooms and corridors. On the other hand, a larger number of men said they smoke outside, including on the street. A researcher at the institute says the government should take steps to protect the health of women smokers who have a higher tendency to smoke indoors.
Good morning. The sizzling heat continues with heat wave alerts upgraded to warnings in more inland regions, including here in the capital. And some 5 to 40 millimeters of rain is expected in central west coast regions until this afternoon, while passing showers are in store for most regions during the day today. And when it's not raining, we'll be under mostly sunny skies with very high humidity. And daily highs will be ranging between 32 and 36 degrees Celsius this afternoon. The weather agency is forecasting much more bearable temperatures from the end of the week, but do expect nationwide showers on Thursday due to the indirect effect of Typhoon Krosap. The 10th typhoon of the season is most likely to impact southern Japan, including Kyushu. Conditions will worsen across southern Japan from Wednesday into Thursday, and Kurosawa will bring heavy showers to eastern South Korea on Thursday and possibly into Friday. That's Korea for you, and here's the international weather for viewers around the world.
Well, that's where we're going to have to leave the news and weather for now. Stay tuned to Arirang TV. Plenty more coming up, including our next newscast at noon Korea time. That's in around an hour and a half from now. So until then, goodbye.
Ago in 1999. Arirang TV